Well, let's start with the big story of the day, and this is coming in from West Asia, which is once again on the edge. US and Iran have stepped up their attack and counter-attack with the Strait of Hormuz at the center of the latest escalation. Now, with that, we have a breaking update coming in from West Asia. The US Central Command has said that it has launched a fresh wave of strikes on Iranian targets to weaken Iran's ability to attack commercial ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has defended the move, stating that ship was in an unauthorized territory. And remember, this comes after a tense 24 hours during which Iran has targeted a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. US responded with a large-scale strikes hitting around 140 military targets, Iran then firing missiles towards Jordan, Kuwait, Oman and Qatar. But all the four countries have said that attacks were intercepted. But earlier, remember, US President Donald Trump had warned that if Iran ever tries to assassinate him, US would decimate and destroy the regime. Iran's supreme leader has since vowed revenge, adding to fears that the war could now even get bigger. Let me get you more details and go across to Mayank, who is joining us live on the broadcast with more details. Good morning, Mayank. US has bombed Iranian cities once again as Hormuz standoff has intensified. Now, give us more details about what is happening at this point in time.
Good morning, Akansha, and good morning to the viewers. What started as the shore-based operations has extended to the other places, and it is getting deeper into the various cities of Iran. But then ultimately what is affecting the entire globe is going to be the again cessation and complete stoppage of movement of any kind of containers or tankers which were moving, or civil vessels which were moving from that side for some time, which did actually after the ceasefire agreement between both US and Iran. Also, what Iran has done is actually it is expanding its targets towards all the military assets or the military bases of the US, which are around encircling the Strait of Hormuz. So what it has done is actually it is expanding the military operations on both sides. So ultimately, it has come back to whatever it was happening right in the beginning, since 28th of February when the operations were launched. It is ultimately going to affect the whole world in terms of cost of living. I mean, for immediate and to surmise or to conclude the things, actually it is going to raise the cost of living everywhere, because the movement of 20% of oil or fuel derivatives which come from this side has stopped again. So people should be worried, because it is Monday today, and it will be reflecting in various indices across the globe, Akanksha, and thus we'll realize that how negatively it is going to affect the whole globe. Yeah, Akanksha.
All right. At this point in time, we're learning that US Central Command has announced that they have started another round of strikes on Iran, mainly on the southern part of the country. Stay on with us, Mayank. I'll come back to you once again. There's another breaking update coming in at this point in time. We're learning that one person has been killed and 4 others have been injured after a projectile hit an agricultural water pumping station in Mashhad. According to local officials, the attack took place in the early hours of today. The person killed was a security guard at the facility. Emergency and medical teams are at the spot, and the injured are receiving treatment. More details are expected on this. But at this point in time, we are learning that one person has been killed and 4 others injured as a projectile has hit an agricultural water pumping station in Mashhad. Let me once again go back to Mayank on this. Mayank, could this mark a shift in the war with civilian infra now coming under attack? Give us more details about this particular place, where it is located at, and what Iran has to say on this.
Akansha, that's an important point what you have said actually. And when 28th of operations had started, after that, it is to make our viewers understand better and also to give them some kind of a reference point. During that also, water desalination facilities were also hit, or maybe the infrastructure which is used for not only storage of products, which is petroleum products, and also to some infrastructure of refinery purposes also. In one of the cases which was really really sad, was a school in Iran was also hit. And when we were reporting, Times Now team was on ground in Israel, when we were reporting Rishon LeZion is a place wherein a kindergarten school was also hit. What I'm trying to bring out is actually when projectiles are hit, like in this case what you brought out, they doesn't know once they are fired, and some, because of certain veering of their trajectory, it can fall at any place, and that could be a civilian place also. In this case, we have to see how Iran is going to react, because in the previous cases it had also started as a symbolic purposes. It had hit one of the places which was used as desalination plant. Water for this entire region is really very important, which is scarce, and it is desalinated and then supplied to the rest of the places. As you have brought out, there were metro stations and there were railway stations which had also been hit, whether in Iran or in Israel, or in other places also, which is airports also. But Iran in this case had been coming out and saying that they'll be hitting all those infrastructures or military assets which are for defensive purposes, which are being used as centers for attack on them, and they'll be treating them as enemy operations. So what we see is actually we have to see and wait for the reactions from Iran, and that will create, or that could lead to, operations which can expand not only on military targets, but that can also create problems, because they may start hitting each other's civilian, military, refinery, infrastructures like that. So
absolutely, and now with civilian sites coming under attack, it remains to be seen what Iran has to say on this. Stay on with us, Mayank. I'll come back to you once again. Let us take our viewers through what has happened over the last 24 hours. Iran has struck a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. After that, you would remember that US launched a large-scale strike, hitting at least 140 targets in Iran. And after that, Iran responded by targeting US-linked military sites in Gulf countries. So let me take you through those details. Let's widen the frame and take you through those details. The countries that have come under attack: Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE and Oman. They have been attacked by Iran in the last 24 hours. But we're learning that all the Gulf countries have mentioned that they have successfully intercepted the missiles that came their way. But this is quite concerning, and it has been the playbook of Iran that whenever US bombs Iran, they retaliate by attacking the Gulf countries, as you can see right here. But the main point of contention is the key waterway right here. As you can see, this is the Strait of Hormuz, which is, in fact, the reason why we are witnessing another escalation at this point in time. And with that, we have another breaking update coming in as to what Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson has said so far. In fact, we are learning that he has said that Iran's strike on US military bases were a lawful act of self-defense under the international law, urging Gulf countries to stop allowing the US to use their territory to launch attacks on Iran, and also said that Iran should not be blamed for defending its own country while the aggressors are not being held accountable. So dodging the blame, Iran's foreign ministry has said that the attacks on the Gulf countries, that was a lawful act of self-defense by them under the international law. They may once again bring in Mayank on this. Mayank, take us through this defense that has come in from Iran's foreign ministry. They're saying that whatever they did, as far as Gulf countries are concerned, that was under the international law, that was legal as well, urging the Gulf countries, as they have been in the last 4 to 5 months, to not let the United States use their territory to launch attacks on Iran. Give us more details about this statement.
Akansha, to make our viewers remember, there were certain civilian assets or civilian places which included hotels also. When the previous operations, which were named as Epic Fury and Roaring Lion, when they had started, they were being hit, because Iran said that they were being used as facilities to stay, or accommodation facilities for the US soldiers. In this case also, what they have brought out is actually not only the military bases, but the assets which are placed around Strait of Hormuz and which are being used for offensive purposes, and also maybe defensive purposes, which can be like seeking information, which can be radars, which can be rododomes, which can be facilities which can launch drones. So Iran had been making statements that any place or territory or infrastructure or building which will be used to fire upon them, which is Iranian side, and which is based around them, will be treated as enemy territory, or will be treated as one of the friends of enemy. And in this case, they are doing that same thing only, and they are hitting those places instead of, because see, it also brings out sort of a understanding that whether Iran doesn't have a missile which could be leading, and which is difficult to understand. In one case only, there was a missile which was fired which could go up to, which was aimed for 4,000 kilometers. But in this case, generally we are seeing that Iran has been restricting its operations whether towards Israel or towards the areas which are encircling Strait of Hormuz. So they are using their drones, they are using their missiles again back to the same areas which they were hitting. And you have already counted almost 6 states or countries, we can define them as countries, which are being hit now. And mind it, US has its bases which has a profile of logistic bases, which have a profile of airstrips, which are air bases, and many of them are also placed as dual purposes with the countries which are hosting them. And King Hussein, last we heard is actually King Hussein Airport, air base of Jordan was also hit by Iran, saying this, using this statement itself. But ultimately things are really difficult. Operations have gone back and come back, led back to the kind of operations which were right in the beginning,
in the last 24 hours, in fact, Iran has launched attack on the US bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Jordan and Oman. But we're learning that all the countries have intercepted the missiles. Stay on with us.